being in a marriage for a decade or decades, I mean, it's so devastating. Unless you've gone through it as a child or as a husband or as a wife, you just don't understand it. You said this, you said, nothing is more important than your recovery. So giving yourself time to the process of recovery is worthy investment. Would you like to add anything there?
The journey is long and hard. I mean, I think we can recognize that men in general are not really allowed to feel and express pain in our society. And I have my limits too. I mean, we're not going to let guys just wallow in self-pity. And you talk a lot about courage. I've listened to your audiobooks and speeches, and this is we don't want to sit there and wallow in self-pity. It just is it's not going to work. But when a guy's in that place, he has some choices to make. One way to just kind of describe this is you play football, you know this. When a guy goes down on the field, 100,000 people stop what they're doing, and a team runs out on that field. I mean, and I've researched that team. There's like an orthodontist and local ER doctor and pulmonologist. It's amazing. So they run out there, and their goal is to get this guy stabilized and hopefully back in the game. Well, there's another team out on that field too. They're called the cheerleaders. And I'm sure if I was a football player down on the field, I would rather look at the cheerleaders. I'd rather them come over and say, hey, but the problem with that is the cheerleaders are not going to get you better, and they're just going to get in the way of the team to get you help. So a lot of our guys that are going through divorce will turn to the cheerleaders, porn, strip club, prostitute, instead of getting the team around them. But the reality is that mostly when a guy goes down in divorce, the game just goes on, and they're left without any kind of support. And so that leaves a guy in a place of intensified anger because he's really hurting.
So when you say don't make things worse, I mean, that's already pretty bad, a divorce. So talk us through what worse means in your expertise.
Well, we tell guys that you can think a lot of things, but you can't get put in jail for thinking things. But you can get put in jail for doing what you're thinking of doing. So I know what I thought during this period of time. I can't remember the statistic, but I think about a quarter of all people going through divorce, there would be some sort of actual lashing out, running over mailboxes, stalking, something like that. So
Really?
again, there's one of the authors that I enjoy says that as love and marriage go together, so do divorce and anger. So you're intensely in
Whoa.
love, come together in marriage. And when that pulls apart, the anger can be really in a unique, they call it divorce anger. It's intense. And that can lead people to do crazy stuff that they never would have thought. In fact, a lot of men will say, I never knew I could think like this or feel like this, I should say. So we're always telling those guys, don't make it worse. You're probably familiar with Richard Rohr's saying, pain that's not transformed is transmitted. So men transmit pain outwardly. We see it in, mass shootings. We see it in the sexual out working out as they express themselves in bad ways sexually. But inwardly, that pain can be turned inwardly in depression and ultimately suicide. So the suicide rate, as you know, for older men is skyrocketed the last 15, 20 years and among young teenage girls. So the idea of don't make it worse really has practical implications. You can think a lot of stuff, and eventually God's going to work on your heart to get your thinking back in line, but just don't do them. For now, just decide, I'm not going to do what I'm thinking I want to do.
Yeah, I thought this was really powerful. You said, and I'm going to let you unpack this, invest in time with God. And then you said spending time with God will give you energy, not take it away.
Yeah, I think, divorce really sucks the energy out of you. I'm a 110, 125% guy. I love to go. And when all this came down with me, it's hard just to get out of bed. And God just said, look, Dale, you measure your worth for good or bad, mostly for bad, by how much you get done in a day. And he said, it's not going to happen, man. You are not gonna be able to produce. But in the time with God is absolutely critical. I mean, I could not have made it through without God's comfort and care for me. And so these guys are at that bottom. He is the answer. God is the answer. And as we know, when men go through these horrible times, then that's just God stripping us down. I mean, whatever that horrible time looks like for you, it could be a job loss. It could be the death of someone important in your life, the death of your wife. For us who are divorced, that's just God stripping us down, putting us in the desert. And if you just don't go to God, then you're just completely wasting this opportunity God has put in your life to reorder your priorities, come to him and find faith in him. But when you're exhausted, you're going, man, I can't even get out of bed. I mean, literally people going through divorces say, I I can hardly make it through the day, can't wait to get in bed. Then at night, all the thoughts come flooding in my personal opinion, is when Satan really starts to bombard you. And then you say, I gotta get up. It's torment. But guys, you have got to just take time with God. This is when he wants to meet you in the desert. And you will not lose. No one ever died from getting up 30 minutes early and spending time with God. I promise you won't die. So take that time, invest with God, and this is your moment to really hear Him and experience His comfort of you. In the end, if you come to Christ through this and really come to know God, well, then you're going to be able to look back on that pain, that awful pain, and say that was worth it. I mean, that hard time was definitely God's work in my life.
Do you think that lowering your expectations there is also a pull by the Holy Spirit into deeper and authentic relationships with people who really care about you? Did you see that counteracting or your lack of ability to perform at the highest level?
That's a great, really what you're bringing up is who is going to be there for you.
Yeah.
And the reality is that divorced guys are going to be alone. I was so angry at the lack of people who reached out to me. So I was pastoring a church of about 500 people. If I had gone on Facebook and said, hey, I've got a terminal diagnosis of cancer or just a cancer, I would have had hundreds of people reaching out. When this happened, nothing. And I literally spent Christmas Day of 2015 in the parsonage of the church I was going to be leaving. And at the end of the week, I spent that Christmas Day alone. And honestly, I was not unhappy with that. I was so sick of people and so angry. This was 3 months after, or 2.5 months after she had left. But there's a reason that guys are going to go it alone, because death and divorce are really different. When someone dies, one thing, it's a short event. Everybody knows what to do. You reach out, you send flowers, you go to service, you might call them, whatever, and it's over and done. That person's not going to come back to life and mess things up. But with divorce, so they don't know whether to congratulate you or console you. So friends and family are going to draw back because they just don't know what to do. And that's where my book comes in, because you can go up to someone who's going through divorce and say, hey, you're going through divorce. I know this is painful. Maybe this could help. But don't expect people to reach out to you and say, hey, I know you're going through divorce. Let me help you, like they would if you had a health crisis. This is a real problem, because those guys, when they're really hurting, feel abandoned, and there is a good reason for that. Guy, people just don't know what to do. The few that do really reach out, you will remember them for your lifetime. And if you know someone who's going through divorce, take the plunge, man. Reach out to them. You're jumping into a messy situation that's not going to be over and done like a death is. You may be walking with this guy for a year or 2 years. This guy's quite going to lash out at you. The few people who did even reach out to me, well, then I was so angry and hurt that I was like a cornered animal. Instead of welcoming the help, sometimes I'd lash out at them. But you just got to be patient with these guys, because they really are in a lot of pain, and they need help though.
When you said the lack of energy, I thought there's something's got to happen there, and it's got to be relational. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be some kind of relational component where we lean into people very heavily.
Well, the guys that, like I go back to the guy down on the football field, face down on the turf,
Yeah.
and then in divorce, no one runs out onto the field and the game just goes on. And you're going, hey man, I'm down on the turf. I would like some help here. No, they're cheerleaders, right? They're always there. Porn's
Yeah.
always there, strip clubs, prostitutes. So what we advocate the guys do, and in the work that we do with guys, is we say you got to build your team. Right now, or I
Yeah.
should say for 50 years, we've had this amazing infrastructure ready for anybody going into a physical crisis. You dial 911 and literally there's millions of dollars, and all these people have actually dedicated their lives to instantly coming and getting you back in the game physically. The fact that we just got 988 tells you that we're a little behind on the soul crushed infrastructure. So we tell the guys, if you fell down with a heart attack, man, there'd be all kinds of people helping you. When you come through this heart attack, you have to build your own team. So that team consists of one or two good friends, no more than that. Pastor, a men's ministry leader, a lawyer, a medical doctor, financial counselor, therapist. So you actually have to do that work. And so this really puts the burden on us as churches to realize that we have to really step in with these guys and be interventive with them and really take the lead because they're probably not going to do that. It's hard enough to build a team. If I have a frustration from the guys that reach out to us, they'll say, I need some help. So I've reached out to churches in the local area and said, hey, will you reach out to this guy? It's as if he is having a physical heart attack. He needs help now. And honestly, I've been surprised at the lack of response to that 911 call, to churches. So
Well,
divorce guys really do need you to jump in there with them. It's hard, but they need it.